Good morning. We, the group of Waterfront Development of 4th year BARC, will be presenting the data collection, analysis, and proposal of Kuam River in the locality of Chintadripet and Pudupet. So, myself, Vaishnavi, and my group mates Neelanjanai, Benzini, Selsha, Shalin, Rohit Chowdhury, Vishnu, Siddharth, Vignesh, and Vignesh Karthik, and Rohit Banerjee will be presenting about the same.
This is about the Kuam River. So this river is also known as Tiruvallikeni River, which is one of the shortest river which drains into Bay of Bengal. And the total length of the river is 72 kilometers, in which 32 kilometers flows in part of Chennai, and the urban parts, it is polluted to the maximum. And the source of this river is known to be Kesavara Manikat in Belur district, where it splits from the Kosasthalayar to flow as a partially dependent tributary. And the origin of this river, it originates in Kadambattur Union in Tiruvallur district. And looking at the history of this Kuvam River, the name Kuvam is said to be derived from Tamil term, which means well or deep pit. And this river was once very clean and considered to be holy, by which if a person takes one dip in this river, it is considered that the person could reach salvation. And for centuries, this river has been an integral part of the culture of the city as well. And in the early 20th century, it was a very clean river and it was used for navigation in the ancient times as well. And in the 2004 tsunami, the tsunami actually cleaned the mouth of the river, but however, it returned to its usual polluted state. And looking at the present state of the river is one of the most polluted water body in the city, and it is also considered as a dead river. And the quality of the water is very toxic and it's completely non-potable, and it has zero amount of dissolved oxygen, so that it cannot have any life form in it as well. And there are 700 odd points where the sewage is directly let to flow into the river. And in most of the points, like around 7 ton of municipal waste is dumped to the river. And there are no existing species in the river after actually in 1950 there were around 49 species, but now there are no fishes living in the river. Next slide, Bensley. So this is the land use map of the Kuvam River. So as we can see, it is mostly industrial and commercial and mixed use development. So these are major reasons which led to the kind of present situation of the river. And the Chennai city has experienced around 5 major floods between 2015 to 1943, in which this 1943, 1978 and 2005 had the severe damages. And the reason for this is basically the unplanned and illegal urban development, which led to the sinking of this rivers and other water bodies. So, and the other reason is that when the other rivers and dams which are connected to this river gets flooded, the water gets into this river and gets around the buildings around. And the site that we have taken comes under the coastal regulation zone, wherein the 100 meters on either side of the river is restricted for developments. And our site falls in the CRZ2 category. And looking at the introduction about the boundary that we are taking a stretch of Kuam that is 1.1 kilometer from St. Andrews Bridge to the Harris Bridge, and 200 meters on either sides at Chindadripet and Pudupet. So a little bit of introduction about Chindadripet is that it is located on the southern bank of the Kuam River, and it is basically a residential commercial settlement with dense population. And it is also very well known as the Ritchie Street, which is the electronic hub of Chennai, is located there, and it's also known for its auto service hubs. And about Pudupet, it is also a residential commercial area, and this place is very well known for its car spare parts. Next slide, Vince.
So the locality of Chindadripet in Chennai, it's known for its popular fish market and also a hub for electrical goods. So with the river Kuam forming a horseshoe-shaped boundary to this locality, and with only 2 entry points from Egmore and Annasalai, this Chindadripet was originally called as Chinnataripete, so which translates into village of small looms. So coming to the history, Chindadripet was a neighborhood in Chennai and it was created in 1734 by the British governor George Morton Pitt with a settlement of over 230 weaver families to produce cotton for export. So like I said before, it was called as Chinnataripetai, a village for handlooms. So this is located on the southern bank of the Kuvam River, which is surrounded by Chepak, Pudupet, Egmore, Parktown, Veperi and Anasalai. So in this, initially the planning settlements were such that none but spinners, weavers, painters, washers and dyers with priests and attendants for temple were admitted to this village. So, towards the end of the 17th century, the British East India Company was fully established within the territory of India, with British primarily focusing on trade and economic activities. So, however, as time passed, the company felt the need to have a permanent trading station. So, this led to the building of Fort St. George and the British fortress in India. So during this time, the Dubashes and the chief merchants of this company, who were engaged in the supply of cotton goods to the company, rose to great prosperity, power, and influence. So in this, Narayana Chetty, a chief merchant of the company, helped in populating the village, which grew to accommodate nearly 250 families within 2 years after its foundation. So prior to independence, Sindadripet was identified with small looms of the 15 streets in the neighborhood. They had at least dozen of weavers. So with the decline in the cotton production and the rise of power mills, so weavers migrated elsewhere. So Chindadripet was one of the few localities in those days where streets were not divided on the basis of caste. The space in Chindadripet was organically divided between different communities within a span of 1 kilometer. We could find Jains, Zoroastrians, and Christian community members living adjacent to each other. So the current state, coming to the current state of Tari in Chindadripet, so by the beginning of the 19th century, the handloom industry here had started to see signs of decline. The growth of power looms and cheaper dyes, and as volumes fell, so people from Chindadripet migrated to Kanjipuram, but the Saurashtrian community, they decided to stay back and got back into the business of making temple umbrellas. To this date, Ayamudalai Street in Chindadripet is home to families who make temple umbrellas. So the business is run by the Saurashtrian community that came to Chindadripet as weavers, and the products are supplied to temples in Malaysia, Singapore, and to countries as far to Australia. Next.
So I'll be talking about the land use map here. So this is the exact site we have chose here. So as you can see, the orange, blue and yellow indicates the zoning of the whole site. So orange is mixed residential, blue is commercial and green is yellow. So you can see only the whole site is only of concrete structure. So you don't find any green spaces or any pockets where you can sit and relax. So up next I have zoned this river alone. So where you have garbage, waste oil dumps and all those in the banks of the river. So which this leads people not to get a good relationship with the river also. So the two pictures represent the present state of the river. So this would obviously correlate with the zoning also I have done. So next.
So in this, we can observe the current state of Chindadripet. So in this slide, we'll be seeing the existing condition in Chindadripet and Pudupet stretch along the riverside. So as soon as we enter into a site to Chindadripet through the Gandhi Urban Bridge, the bridge has 2 lanes for vehicles and a pedestrian walkway along both sides of the road. So as soon as we enter, we observe a lot of garages along the river bank, which is mainly auto rickshaw workshop and also bodybuilding shops for the auto rickshaws. These workshops occupy a lot of space on either side of the road, wherein the auto rickshaws are parked, and it makes it difficult for other vehicles to travel in the same road. The people who work here in these garages live around 1 to 2 kilometer radius, and they buy spare parts directly from the company's auction. The river banks are completely polluted due to garbage dumping and wastage from these workshops, and there's no such maintenance for the same. Also, the sewage lines, they directly open into the river. So in the next slide, Vignesh will explain about the visuals of Pudupet.
So for the Pudupet side, it's basically the other part of the stretch, which is the Pudupet stretch. The main consideration for this stretch is as follows. So from the Chindadirpet to Pudupet, we take the Kuvam bridge. That is also the same condition as the Gandhi Urban Bridge. It has separate lines and also a pedestrian walkway for the peoples. In Chindadirpet, it was more about auto rickshaws, whereas here it focuses on the spare parts alone with more of a mixed residential side. And along the river bank, we can observe that the existing walls are partially damaged, and ones where it is completely damaged, work has been started and left halfway through. And next, there are public toilets along the side, focusing for the people working in the garages and other shops, but the toilets are damaged and not being maintained properly, which leads to unsanitary use of the river. And here, due to the river encroachment that causes flooding in this area, the people in the police quarters told that they get water up to the first floor level when it floods during the monsoon season. And the main disadvantage is that the breeding of mosquitoes and the sickness that spreads due to it. And considering for the advantage, comparing with the Chindadirpet side, the Pudupet side is comparatively less congested, unlike the Chindadirpet side. Next slide.
Yes, sir. So this is basically the primary roads which I'm explaining. So to reach this site, and even though for Chennai, like 3 major roads of the city, it's Ponamalli Road and Mount Road and Rajaji Salai. So Ponamalli is connecting Coimbatore and west part Chennai, and Mount Road connecting the south part of the Chennai. It's connect Central Railway Station and the trading town. So if you see for Pudupet and other could be Chintadirpet. So if you see north of this place, main from Central Railway Station through Gandhi Irvine Bridge Road, this is one of the main entry. And if you take second one, like from Egmore Railway Station, through Egmore Railway Station, we'll take Poonamai Kovil Street, and this is the Pantheon Road, which is a sub road. And if you see south part of this region, basically entry for Pudupet is like Aditana Road, and one more entry for Chintadirpet is like a Blackers Road. So basically, this Blackers Road will lead to Chintadirpet railway station, the east part of the Chennai. So, next slide. And this is the secondary connectivity, sir. So as I said previously, how this connectivity happen from primary road, like from Central Railway Station to Gandhi, through Gandhi Irvine Bridge, and at the same time Chennai Egmore to Pudupet. And these are the secondary road entries from Aditana Road and Pantheon Road and Arunachal Street and Anna Salai. So all streets are perpendicular to Langs Garden Road, which is situated at Pudupet, and even if we take Kuum River Road also, all the streets are perpendicular to Kuum River Road. So this is basically like two main purposes connect the people get multiple routes to reach the Kuum River. So most of the streets are like perpendicular to Kuum, but it lacks of access to the river in terms of like traffic and also in coming slides I will explain. So next slide.
So I will be talking about the socio-economic activity of the people in Pudupet and Chindadirpet. First, talking about the population status. The Pudupet, as of the census status of 2011, Pudupet has a population of 15,557 people, where the male constituted more than the female, and as in Chindadirpet had a population of 76,000, in which female constituted more than male. Those the streets which we covered are Nainiyappan Street, Swami Nayakan Street, Rajgopal Nayakan Street, Krishnappan Chetty Street, Attipattan Street, Wallace Road, West and East Coam River Road, Police Quarters, Ayasami Street, and Murthy Street. And the map on the left side indicates the middle income group and the lower income group with the respective color coding. And these are the pie charts representing the male and female population and the age group of the people residing in our covered area, where the age group of 41 to 50 are the majority people. On the occupation, on the other chart representing the occupation, for which the majority of the people are semi-skilled laborers. And that 2/3 of the people residing in the residing there have the locality occupation are automobile works, fish market, and vehicle repair works. Their daily activity starts from morning 9 a.m. and ends during late night also. So for the people working in the fish market, they get their fishes from the auction bid, which is being conducted in the early morning in Ennore port. From them, it's a 20 minutes travel, so that they will reach and sell the fishes here. And the factors that affect the daily activity of the people are the mosquitoes and the smell, improper settlement of the garbages along the streets, and also during the rainy season, there women and children acquire more common diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and dengue. Uh, but but considering the stretch on the Pudupet stretch, few people under the river bank as a spot to relax themselves, and most of the people wish is to have a recreational space to ease themselves. On the map on the right side represents the flood zones. The whole region got affected, but but the color code representing the particular regions where more pregnant women and newborn babies got affected. Next slide.
So I'll be talking about the housing typology for this study area. So the study area which we covered of both Chindatripet and Pudupet have more or less the same typology, wherein the ground floor is the commercial areas and the upper floors are the residential areas. Almost every house in this both these stretches go up to 3 to 4 stories alone. So when we did the study in this area and when we spoke to them, a lot of people said that in each family only one person, which was generally the male, would be working, because of which they were not able to completely finance their house issues or any other issues that they faced. So that was one difficulty which they faced. Uh, Also, in this study area, majority of these people lived in their own houses. However, if there was any space left in between this stretch, they would put up a shop, or they would another building would be constructed, which would be given on for rent for the people who came for a short period of time, or like the floating population that came to this area. So in this map over here, it shows the different color codes, which majority of it is mixed residential, as I said, commercial and residential. A small part of it, which is the Naryankadu police quarters, is primarily residential, and then you have full commercial sectors, which has the Gaiety Palace and other small shops. So, uh, talking about the toilet facility within this area, uh, a lot of these houses do not have the basic facility of a washroom inside their house, and they are dependent on public washrooms. But even when it's public washroom, there are just 2 SPM toilets that are provided, which are also not in a proper condition. So a lot of people complain of basic health issues or basic uh, hygienic problems. Even the shops that are present over here do not have any washrooms, so they too are dependent on these public washrooms. Go to next slide. So here I've shown an enlarged street elevation of both Chindatripet and Pudupet. So the reason of doing this is to get an idea of the typology of houses that are present across the river banks. So most of these houses have been developed over the years, but still they lack basic facilities because of their low income groups. And whatever space as I've mentioned, that is there in between, they either use it to dump stuffs, or they use it as their parking facility, or they put up small stalls. So a lot of the people do not have any space to actually use as a public space or as a gathering space. And also the river banks are fully dumped, so they are not able to use the river bank as well. So that is another issue that they face. Next slide.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the commercial status of Chintatipet and Pudupet. So it basically is a more real estate area with uh, office, computers, automobile repair shops, and electronic hubs. So it basically reflects on a low economic status of the people over here. As we had mentioned, most of the people over here are daily laborers who engage in carrying goods, or either work in fish market or sell seafood products like fishes, prawns and crabs. So the lower middle class people usually own the automobile space shops in these places and electronic shops, and people who own these shops usually have their shops located at the ground floor level of their apartment, and they reside on the upper floor. Uh, and some of the people who have these spaces, most of them rent out these spaces to other people. And as vehicles are not available at an affordable cost at these areas, it is difficult for people to get a loan for the vehicle. So most of the respondents own a motorcycle for most of the activities that they do. And also that owning a store in such a narrow street results in on-street parking, which results in overcrowding of roads and few minor accidents. As we had said, that cycle and motorcycle are present in most of the households. They use it for majority of the activities. As Shelsha had mentioned before about the river being polluted, usually the fishes were used to be, fishing was considered as part of the income. In the river Kuam. So people used to take the goods and other stuffs with these vehicles and moving through these narrow streets. And these other automobile shops which have shown up on these roads take up both the sides of the streets, which is resulting to the overcrowding. The next slide. So as Vaishnavi had mentioned, the Chintatipet was a village of small looms. So the most of the issues that people were facing in these places were because of the decline which was happening, because of the power looms and cheaper dyes which are coming in from England. And at that point, a lot of people had migrated to Kanchipuram from Chintatipet, and only the Saurashtrian people had decided to stay back. But due to the historic floods which had happened in 2015, a lot of materials and equipment which was taken by loan, taken in loan by the people, it got destroyed, and a very few amount of people now continue this tradition. So majority of the people also shifted to making temple umbrellas, and as she had said that these products are usually supplied to temples in Malaysia and countries as far as Australia. So the issues that had happened after the historical floods, people had said that they hardly earn 125 rupees for working 14 hours a day, and also that the government had brought up GST and other issues which was being levied on these people, and they were not earning sufficient. And as Shalan had mentioned, that only one person in the family works, and usually the male works in the family, so the female doesn't get a space of herself to work. So at first, when this tradition was going on, people used to go to this library, Gaussian Library, which is present in Chintatipet. So this was a foundation led by the Britishers as a settlement for the weavers. But as this library used to get handful of visitors, so it was being used as a place where weaving could take place. So a lot of people used to use the space. But after independence, this library was taken up by the government, and now because of poor maintenance, it's not being used and it's not being maintained properly. So a lot of people have also lost their jobs because of this, and because they don't have sufficient space and uh, and money to buy products and work on the weaving aspect. Next slide, please.
So in this, we'll be seeing about the evolution of site through time. In 2001, we can observe the development along either sides of the river bank, and also the construction of police quarters in Pudupet. During the course of time, there has been further settlements along the banks of the river that does not follow the guidelines policy. So in the year 2010, the Kuam restoration began, but the commercial establishments, including shops, have created a bottleneck in the integrated Kuam eco-restoration, and the Madras High Court had directed the state government to evict families encroaching the banks of the Kuam. So, however, to this day, 7 shops continue to hold their place and do business in the same area. The shop owners argue that the relocation option offered to them in Singaperumal Koil, that is around 20 kilometers from Tambaram, so it would effectively end their business opportunities. As many as 120 shops from South Kuam River Road, Pudupet, and 263 shops on Dams Road, West Kuam River Road, and East Kuam River Road, Chindadripet, were demolished. This includes shops, 9 temples, and 5 churches. So several eviction along the west, east, and south banks of Coombe River remained as dumping sites months after being cleared of human settlement and a commercial establishment. So while the corporation has begun fencing work along the east bank of the river, so behind the Rajratnam Stadium in Egmore, the spot continues to be used for dumping rexine and other material by car and motor repair shops in that area. So the space along the West Bank in Chindalipet where the eviction were carried out is now depository of construction debris and other garbages. The corporation has completed fencing along the EB Link Road, securing it from further encroachment and garbage dumping. But when you visit the Kuem in Chindadripet, the several auto repair shops that were removed showed vehicles condemned as scrap and molds of debris still in the riverbank. So even the garden waste is dumped along the river, and the residents complain about it. Next slide.
So this is the issues with respect to the river. So the major issue that they have is the sewage that is directly let into the river from the residential and the commercial spaces around. And as I already mentioned, the river is completely dead and there are no species or it cannot support any life form as such. And the river bank is completely inaccessible because of the soil dumps and the waste dumps along the river, and they also have lots of health issues due to the insanitary state of the river. And the residents also feel that the river is totally neglected as a design element, and unhygienic usage of the river due to improper maintenance of the public toilets, as many people are dependent on the public toilets, but they do not use it because of the unhygienic state of the toilet. And the other major issue is the flooding at monsoon seasons, which the others mentioned that the waters get up to first floor height during heavy monsoon rains.
So I'll be talking about the area analysis. So there are residential areas with recreational spaces and playgrounds to encourage people to interact with each other. And there are a lot of small-scale industries along the riverbank, thus leading to the pollution along its stretch. And open dumping is one major reason, one main issue seen here. And there are a lot of buildings and compound walls which are damaged. And the major reason for choosing this stretch is that it's an important hub with residential area, and it has a lot of historical importance in this stretch, which now has been neglected. So this is one. These are the major reasons why we chose this stretch. Next slide.
So I'll be talking about the traffic and transportation. The road in Chintadipet along the bank of the river witnesses heavy traffic. Also, you'll notice poor road standards across both sides river, that is Chintadripet as well as Pudupet side. And down over here in the map, you can one can notice a huge vehicular movement happening. Then the standard lane width of the major road is 3.6 meters, whereas here the road along the Coombe River varies from 3 meters 0.2 meters, and the standard lane width of the inner road is 2.7 meters, whereas in Chintadripet as well as in Pudupet area, the inner road varies from 2 to 2.5 meter. Due to encroachment along the bank of the river sides, there is shrinking of the road. Further, in Chintadripet area, there is no auto stands, which forces many auto drivers to park outdoors, as you can see by the pictures over here. And whereas in Pudupet side, if you see by this your picture, due to the presence of multiple commercial establishments, there are many cars parked along the road, which leads to further shrinking of the road. And lastly, if you see the pictures over here in Pudupet side, there is many garbage dumps in the crust of the road, which also forces the pedestrians to walk on the road. Also, the road stretch does not across the river does not have a separate footpath, which forces the pedestrians to walk on the road. Then the variety of transport modes you will see in this area would be out of 100%, 4.8% is the bus going around both the side area. 26.4% is the three-wheeler, that is the autos. 13.5% is the cars, 8.3% is the bicycle, 37% is the bike, and lastly remaining 10% is the goods vehicle. And by these three maps from the down part, this map shows the traffic between the timing 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning. The next map shows the traffic between the timing 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the third map shows the traffic between the timing 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. So by this map, you can notice one thing, the road along the bank of the river in Chintadripet side witnesses heavy traffic. Also, the timing which I mentioned is the peak hours you'll notice in this area. Then other problems you'll notice in this area would be noise and air pollution, no proper traffic signalizing and uneven road surfaces. So major issue we found here is the parking that we'll be seeing in the proposal. Next.
So in the problem impact mapping, some of the problems we've noticed in the macro level is that we need to encourage the social interaction between the various socioeconomic status of the various sections of the people, inspire community ownership among various people along the river bank, inspire people to visit the river bank, and lastly to promote and sustain the surrounding ecological of the river bank. And coming to the micro level, there needs to be a certain regulatory body for maintaining the discharge of harmful toxins in the riverbank, maintaining the green cover along the riverbanks, and also building proper adequate infrastructure like embankments, etc. And to enforce proper zonal segregations along the riverbanks. Next slide.
So to sum up what we've heard till now, so this is a consolidated analysis that we've prepared. Uh, and over here, we've segregated based on the people who are living here, for the people who are involved in the commercial activities, and for the people who come for a short span of time just to buy goods. So talking about the people living in this area, so as we heard already, they complain of not having a recreational space, not being able to use the riverbank in a proper way. Uh, to subdivide this based on the different age groups, we've derived with this analysis after speaking to them. So the children complain that they did not have proper playgrounds or proper gathering spaces, which is something which children actually look forward to. The middle-aged people, as we had mentioned, only one person works in the family, because of which they cannot financially support the family. So when we spoke to the people over there, the women actually stepped up and they said that they would actually want to work. However, they lack a proper platform space to put up any stall. When we saw the street elevation also, the whole area was crowded with some activity or the other, and they were not able to use the riverbank. So they complained of not having a proper platform space. Uh, if they had one, they would definitely like to put up stalls. In Chintatripet, they were more interested in putting up bringing back the weaving tradition. Whereas in Pudupet, the women were more interested in putting up food stalls and earn money. And the elderly people, they had basic health issues, and they also had difficulties in using the public washroom since they were not kept in a good condition. So these were the people living in this area. Talking about the people who were involved in the commercial activities. So a lot of people were not able to put up some more stalls which they would want to, and even the footpaths were later used to put up any spare parts stalls, etc., which was not very safe for people in that area and the people who had to use the footpath. And also the people who would come for a short period of time to buy goods, they had an issue that whenever they had the wait time till they received their good, they didn't have any space to actually spend that time. So these were the issues based on this study area. And based on this, now we'll be talking about our proposals. Bensley, next slide. So based on the issues that we just heard about, we've come up with these proposals which try to satisfy all these uh, issues that they faced. So the first and foremost thing was to create a recreational space for the people and to make good use of the riverbank. So in Pudupet, in the previous image, there was a view of the Lang's Garden, which was actually done in 2010, but it was never made in use because it did not have any activity going on in that space. And moreover, it did not have basic street lighting or street furniture, because of which people didn't really make good use of it. Rather, they found that space as a dumping yard. So creating a space which is more usable and which gives them a platform to do what they want to will definitely be a better option. And over here, we are introducing a lot of activities, so this whole space becomes more lively and more user friendly. So within this stretch, we are introducing the stalls for the food stalls and for the platform, the weaving community. We are redesigning the washrooms and placing more number of washrooms to satisfy the count which is present, and people will be able to use this washroom in a better way. Also, when we heard about the parking issues, so since we're introducing all these activities, we've come up with other parking alternatives where more people can park in a better way. So we'll be discussing about these proposals in a detailed way in the upcoming slides. Next slide.
So based upon further proposals that will show in the next few slides, in the first top left hand side corner, as you can see the green belt that has been designed in both such river bank, both in Pudupet and Chindatripet. The next will be of the food stalls, 2 along the Chindatripet side and 5 along the Pudupet side. Then the next is viewpoints, 4 along the Chindatripet side and 5 in the Pudupet side. As you can see, there's a delineated area for the designed spherical structure will be showing next. Next will be for the toilets. There's an equal balance along both the riverbank, 5 on each sides. For parking, we have 3 types. For the Pudupet, we have provided an on-street parking along the riverbank, and a hydraulic and on-street in the Chindatripet. Next slide.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about a little bit more in detail with the master plan. As we had said, we wanted to create recreational spaces for the elderly, and so we had thought of this idea of creating a nice green pocket so children could use it for the activities, for the fun, and also this could act as a buffer space to segregate the spaces from the busy streets, from the parking, and also make it a much more sensational area in the spaces. Apart from that, we also took up ideas of people that we could create food streets so that they could bring back their livelihood. They could earn a bit more for the families and also have much more activities going on in the spaces. Apart from that, we have this spherical structure which we had designed, which is in the center of the stretch in the Chintatipet side. So that is more of a structure to bring back the tradition and to know more about the weaving tradition which was happening in the Chintatipet area. Apart from that, we've also provided several toilets on either sides. To maintain these proper sanitation areas and other spaces. And apart from that, we have gazebos and other seating areas and also viewpoints to make the space a bit more lively and also a place you can find yourself to be happy. Next slide.
So in this sheet, we've just tried to merge in different images showing the stretch to get a better idea of the different activities taking place here. So in the first two images, you see the seating options. Uh, then you have the walkway. Over here, we have a top view of the food street. So having the space with good amount of lighting makes it more lively, and people will be more will find it more easier and more safe to use such spaces as compared to how it was in Lang's Garden. Now, we also introduced the spiral thing, which we'll be talking about, and over here, the last picture shows an image of the washroom and the hydraulic parking. So this is just how the space is used and how it's made more lively and more usable. Next slide.
So to start with the proposal for the street furniture. So firstly, it's about the proposal for the planter and the tree guard, which is used in our site, which is the stone rings around the trees, which protect the trees and as well can be used at the seating space with the shading for the peoples over there. And these are the main advantages, and it is of varied sizes and it can be used for varied uses. And the material used for this type is the steel reinforced and the cedar woods. And next with the letterbands, the idea of design was inspired by the flowers and nature. So here the nature inspired design acts as a visual reminder to the people that garbage disposal have a positive impact among the peoples over there. And separate litter bins has been provided for different purposes with different color indications, such as for the bottle and cans, straws, and for the paper waste. And the materials used for this litter bins are as follows: cast aluminum, cast ductile, and the stainless steel. And for the lid, it's steel material. And next for the lightings, it's the site is we have used three types of lighting. The first will be the street charge, which is a solar powered lighting, and next will be the branch type of lighting. This concept is inspired from the tree crowns, and the other type is the LED type lights. So for the seating type used is the first type is the climp type seating, which is purely made out of recycled waste, and it is a convenient type of seating which is used in this place, and which is suitable for all climates, and it is comfort for use. And the next is the Y-shaped, which resembles the alphabet of the Y and act as a unique type of seating, and it is made out of concrete. And next, the food kiosk. It is totally open kind of kiosk which is used. And in this type, the advantage is that it can be moved over places and it is easy for the public access. And next, for the public fountain, it is a useful design, and this type of drinking fountain are placed at equal intervals and is made up of concrete. And for the top, it's the steel material. And for the signages part, the signages are used in different places based on their requirements as such. The materials used are as acrylic signs, aluminum, and die-bond. And finally, for the pavement part in the site, it is made up of basalt tile, and the main reason for choosing this type of tile is that it is resistant, durable, and it is cost effective. Next slide.
So then this sheet is basically explaining about to avoid traffic as much as possible. So first here I'm going to explain about Chintadripet side. So Chintadripet, so more like automobile sector, electronic hub of Chintadripet, and so full of road congestion and all it is happening. So to avoid that, we come up with one idea. So that is like we identified in Chintadripet total 57 shops. So we are planning to give like for each shop has one auto garage. That means each garage has 2 parking slots for so repair shop. So this will be like completely like those who are they want to be do repairing things under. So in front of that shop, So there is a garage is available. So in that they'll park autos and all. So at a time, 2 autos can they do repair. So this is the one thing. And even in Chintatripet, if you see this corner, like near a Kuvam bridge side, so which is representing a green and a blue color, is like a hydraulic parking. So why? Because now we gave one proposal here, like in a green belt, like completely public spaces and even though right next to that Kuvam bridge, we have casino, cinemas, and Gaiety Palace and all. So when the time of movie releasing and all, there is a lot of traffic congestion which is happening. So to avoid that as much as possible, we come up with this hydraulic parking. So if you go with the on surface, it's like we're getting very less number of cars. So that's why we went for hydraulic parking, like around 4 levels. So it is height of 47 feet and width is around like uh, 19 feet. So we'll get around a total 56 cars we can park at a time. So basically total 6 modules are there. So in each module we can park around 8 cars. Then coming to Puduppet side, Puduppet is also be like kind of all commercial activities and it will happen. Like it's not that much like Chintatripet. So here we have a space and so that we provided a on-street car parking of both the sides. So which is representing here like Puduppet parking plan. So this is the basically this is how it will look. Next.
So there's been a lot of commercial activities at present in Chindadripet. Since auto rickshaw repair shop have no separate garage, rickshaw car are often found parked along roads. This project here tackles a problem of parking chows for auto rickshaws in front of the automobile repair shops. In addition to the auto stand, the design includes greenery, benches, and a small place for mechanics to work. So here the proposal is a module with prefabricated reinforced concrete mold and wooden profile frames. The composite wood panels has this scooped out space for the greenery to install. Then the concrete for neat parking. Lastly, built-in LED light strips for long lifespan. So as you can see, the auto drivers can take a seat with the riverside views while their rickshaws get repaired. Also, there's a workshop space for mechanics to the right side, that is over here. Overall, this combined mold could create a new element in the urban cityscape where you can safely and comfortably park and do a break while the rickshaw gets repaired. Also, the plants creates a cooling effect and pleasant green area.
The existing public toilets that are along the river are not being used to improper maintenance and damaged conditions. The workshops along the riverbank does not have toilets and they use the public toilets over there. So due to the lack of the same, it leads to the unsanitary use of the river for lavatory purposes. So hence, considering the number of workplace area, the residents associated with it, there are about 5 in Puduppet side and then 4 being placed in the Chindadripet side. So the corner of an ordinary square toilet is the cause of dismalness by making a shadowed area for the parasite-filled puddles, dust, or spiders. So the structure is divided up into 2, forming one male and one female cubicle. So both are roughly semicircular and they sit along one another facing in different direction to create an S-shaped plan. So this facilitates a drinking water fountain area, a ladies' toilet with wash area, men's toilet with urinal and wash area, and also an accessible toilet. The walls that are arranged along the spine coils at one end to form the restroom walls. The walls are staggered and plan control views and allows light for penetration and fresh air. The door that folds back to provide access to the unisex cubicle, including for wheelchair users. So inside, the visitors get a first glimpse of the roof, which is shaped like a lily pad, and the plumbing fixtures are made from heavy-duty stainless steel to avoid wear and tear. But there is no artificial light or mechanical ventilation that keeps the running cost of the facility to a minimum. Next slide.
So I'll be talking about the viewpoint design and the details about it. So why this viewpoint is actually coming up with the public realm, I just really wanted to have a viewpoint so that people could view the whole public realm in a height. So this structure is actually 15-meter in height. This is placed exactly at the center from the two bridges, like the Harris Bridge and Gandhi Bridge. So it is placed exactly at the center. So it attracts more like tourists also to this place. So this becomes a like landmark for the place also. So why spiral? Because like spiral actually has a ease of movement for the people and it reduces confusions also. So in this spiral, the main thing of bringing this structure and having shops near to it is actually to bring back the history of the people in Chintadripet. So the main history of them is weaving and like the temple umbrella making. So we thought of providing them shops and like workshop area, so where they could earn money through this in a public forum also. So they have a display area also, so where they could display all the old works and traditional parts from old times. So then coming up to the design part, what we have incorporated is while walking through the spherical, on the left side of the left side view gives a good like vision of the whole site actually, like whole the water body, the river, the landscape on the other side also. Right side you have the wall running like coming up with you, where you have the old history from the starting of the Chintadripet and still now how it's evolved, how the tradition goes on, like how the products are done and all that. So people don't get bored also when they like go from bottom to top also. They have a good reading session or something like that. So this structure actually helps us to have a good view, like completely the whole public realm. So this is about the design part of this thing. So next slide.
About this structure, the previous slide. So, looking at the this proposal is not only intervention to address the issues of the weavers and the temple umbrella maker. This is also a public level intervention which will bring in more people to access this whole development as such. And this can also become a landmark for this place, as that mentioned. And this culture of weaving and temple umbrella making, though it is a traditional practice of Chindadri Pet, it is not known to many people in Chennai and Tamil Nadu as such itself. Though the temple umbrella is being exported to many other countries, but it's not being known in our country and state as well. So this element or this proposal could make it a better place to deliver this to the public. And this location, why have we placed it in the central of this whole stretch at Chindadri Pet, is that this can be an easy access from both the bridges as well, and could give a good view, as this is a viewpoint as well. It could give a good view if it placed in the center. And when people access from either side, they could get to visualize a reasonable amount of this whole development that we have brought in. And about the structural aspect, the soil type that we have here is sandy soil basically. So we thought of going with helical piers, which could hold this kind of a structure there. And all the built-up structure that we have made, we have placed it around 10 meters away from the water edge. So this is about this proposal. Next slide, please.
So the next proposal is the bus shelter with attached e-toilets. So the need for the proposed intervention is to encourage citizens to use public transportation to reduce pollution and traffic congestion, and to give a good and a comfortable experience for all people, including the differently abled and the kids and all old people. So coming to the components of bus shelters, they provide data like the route number, arriving buses, and their respective arrival and departure time. And it should be user friendly for everyone, including the children, old people, and everybody. And it gives space for advertisement and live boards, and Wi-Fi hotspots and charging points for the people, and should be of very low cost and maintenance. These are the from the usual conventional way to the smart bus shelter. And coming to the expected benefits, coming to the local authority, it helps in reducing the congestion and pollution, thus reducing open defecation and improving the hygiene. and it generates revenue, thus reducing the operational cost. And in business point of view, it is a prime location for advertisements, thus having a maximum reach. And further, addition of stalls can be conceptualized. And components of e-toilets are that it has the automatic payment collection and access control, and they have sensor-based facilities. They have automatic closet washing, water tank, and touch-free cleaning. Next slide. So these are the plan elevation of the proposed shelter with e-toilets, and materials with respect to climatic consideration. So considering the heavy rainfall and bright sunny days, the bus shelters are provided with standing seam metal roof, which is potentially recycled. In addition to shading, the full-size panels prevent any windblown rain and subsequent splashing on the ground. And to avoid rusting and to increase longevity and easy maintenance, the shelter and the seating are designed in stainless steel. And the current design aims to integrate the e-toilet with the bus shelter design, thereby maintaining the aesthetics of the entire shelter as a whole. Thank you.